let's find out why Man Web movie turned out so bad. This movie was terrible.
Explained.
Terrible. Nothing in this movie made sense. Like, just from a fundamental, like, storytelling. Like, she steals a New York City fucking taxi and never gets caught in the, like, the cops never go looking for this taxi cab. She just drives around with a stolen New York taxi cab for the entire movie. Never gets arrested. Just that in and of itself was like, yeah, I think they all have numbers and there's a lot of traffic. It's not like she can weave through.
Don't they? Doesn't the taxi service have like a tracking device tracking the other taxis when they know
because this is taking place in like the early 2000s.
Oh, okay.
There's no like fucking trackers on them, but they have numbers on the cabs, right? So like it'd be like say cab 10, 12, 32X, right? And like that's a stolen cab that everyone's looking for. It's right there in traffic. It's fucking New York. It's not like she's in Kansas where like she can, bob and weave and avoid cops. It's like, oh, and I think it was like parked outside her fucking house for like 3 days or some shit when she went to the Amazon. Also,
no, her friend's house, at Peter Parker's uncle's house, Ben Parker's house. Yeah.
Then, so this makes no fucking sense. Spoilers if you haven't seen the movie, right?
The Project's boobs.
Her mom. They hit her boobs too. That was terrible. No, but so her mom goes to the Amazon to look for this spider that's gonna have like medicinal properties and it's venom, right?
Yeah.
And she's pregnant. She's like 9 months pregnant. She gets shot. She dies. Delivers the baby. Okay. And the only people that are there when she delivers the baby are these like Amazonian jungle Spider-Men, right? And I'm like, how did she end up back in America?
Yeah.
Because Madam Web grows up in the American foster system. Like so like just random like spider guy from the Amazon just shows up in his like jungle outfits. Like he just hands the baby over to like the American consulate. Like, here, this one's yours. They're just like, I guess. You got papers for her? No, just here. Take this baby.
What are papers?
Yeah. It's no passport, no.
Yeah,
it's
we
just
don't
weird.
want to raise her.
Who is this child? Is this George of the Jungle?
Yeah. So, and then later on, right? So I made that joke. Me, my dad, and my mom were watching this movie, and I made that joke where I'm like, oh, so obviously this jungle guy just handed over this baby. Then later on, she goes back to the Amazon, and the jungle guy's like dressed in a suit, and he's all talking English. I'm like, so what? Did he just dress up as like Spider-Man, jungle Spider-Man on the weekends? And it's like, oh man, on the weekend we're all like crazy, like Native American jungle people, but then during the week we're just like regular business guys.
Tony, like, it's a cult.
Yeah, it was just weird because it was like, because they don't say nothing. They're like weird jungle people, and then like suddenly he's just like in a regular
businessman.
Yeah, he's just like a businessman at time. I'm like, oh, this. Like, why didn't you go with her? Then they're like, you have to use the powers to help. I'm like, you have a whole jungle society of Spider-Men. You can just go with her back to New York real quick, take care of the bad guy, right? And just they're like, no, you got it. Don't worry. We trust that you're gonna fucking figure it out. Don't worry, you got this one. We're gonna stay in the jungle and just hang out here.
Poster, you're not gonna get a future movie. I guarantee you're not gonna get a future movie of this.
The kids were useless, even though we got to see them as badasses in the future. I want the future movie. No. I don't think that's going to happen. Didn't what's her name say that she's done with it? The main chick.
Yeah, she was bashing it.
Yeah,
she fired her agent.
Yeah. The day the first trailer came out.
I was watching like some things about that. About a lot of the people who work for Sony's Marvel movies are told they're part of the MCU.
Sydney Sweeney
by their agents and stuff. They're like, oh, we're going to be part of the MCU. And then then they find out they're not, or like that Sony has this albatross of like crappy superhero movies around their neck that they're like,
Sweeney, Sydney Sweeney thought she was going to be the MCU.
Yeah, like one of them, their hero was Elizabeth Olsen. So they were excited to work with Elizabeth Olsen in MCU projects. And then they find out like, well, you're not in the MCU. You're a Marvel movie, but you're not in the MCU.
Well, I'm sure. Here's the thing. If this movie was really good, like let's say that they fucking knocked it out of the park. It was fantastic. I'm sure Disney would have been like, you know what, we'll bring you guys over during Secret War, right?
You look okay, get it.
Yeah, but
That's the
They
thing.
did it.
Yeah, all these Sony movies, they could have had the chance of being
Like,
included
even-
in the MCU.
Even Venom's the
If they were good,
best,
yes.
but it got part of it, but it didn't
You
get to
should hear.
actually
You should hear the
cross
Venom.
over.
You should hear the Venom 3 possible plot. Apparently, that Peter Parker might end up being in it as a 10-year-old kid.
Well, Peter Parker's in this one technically as a baby inside a belly.
Yeah, but
So that's all what they can do with him, I guess.
Yeah.
They'll run with it.
It says I think the problem with this movie is there wasn't enough superheroism in the movie.
no, it's no.
It was really boring.
It was bad writing. Everything was bad about this movie.
Yeah, it was just really bad. Dialogue was bad. They're supposed to be like high school chicks, so like you're like, oh, they're not supposed to be hot, but you're like, they got Sydney Sweeney in it, and you're like,
And
I don't want to look at her, but she's like supposed to be like 16.
A nerd?
Like,
yeah,
and she's like a weird nerd. They were like the Mexican chick and the black chick were like really mean to the white chick. Like,
yes,
really weird. It was like
and the Mexican chick was living alone. The Mexican chick was living alone in the house.
Dude, it was so funny. No, it was so funny because they're going through the scene where like, oh, we should just take you to the police, right? And she's like, well, my parents aren't home because they're off. Like the one chick, Maddie, she's like, my parents are off.
Oh yeah, that's
being rich and doing stuff, right? And the white girl's like, well, my parents are not home either because they're doing, I live with my dad and he works or so, like some bullshit, right? And I was like, watch this. I told my parents, her family got deported, right? And she's like, I can't go to the police because my dad got deported. I'm like, fuck. Why is the Mexican chick, her family's deported? What the fuck? It was so fucking weird. So everything was cliche. Everything was just really dumb.
It's one of the worst comic book movies out there.
Yeah, no mamas and no papas. It's weird.
Like one of like it. Is it not what would be the worst? Like
Howard the Duck is still pretty bad.
Catwoman is pretty bad.
Catwoman, yeah, it's pretty bad. It's up there.
Oh, nothing can be Catwoman.
Catwoman is bad, but it's just bad. Like this movie's bad, but some parts cross over into like so bad that you're like having fun with it because it's so bad.
Yeah, this movie was #1 movie streamed on Netflix for like a week. Yeah, that's how bad it was.
But a lot of the characters, they didn't really have personalities. They were just like, you're the rich chick. You're the like nerd. You're the rebellious.
She was the rich rebel. She was the rich rebel chick because she was rich but also rebellious.
Also, they race swapped J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys caught that because Maddie Franklin, her uncle is J. Jonah Jameson. She even says in the movie, I can call my Uncle Jonah. And they're like, no cell phones. It's like, throws her cell phone. So I also Netflixed it, Potion. So I was one of the people contributing to this.
Yes, you were. Hey, I contributed to the box office because I actually saw it in the theaters. Okay.
This was a direct-to-video movie that somehow fumbled into theaters. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, well, let's find out why it was so bad, guys, because we're going to get it explained to us. Whether it came as a surprise or a confirmation of suspicions, Madam Web was objectively a failure and a flop. The bad reception likely resulted from many factors such as fundamental storytelling choices and association with an already belittled franchise. I don't think it's associated with Spider-Man's not a belittled franchise unless they're counting Sony as its own franchise.
Just the Sonyverse. Yeah, the Sonyverse.
But it's not really a verse because like Venom's not really connected to Morbius and it's not really connected to.
Well, yeah, this movie's
not even out yet. This movie wasn't connected to nothing.
Yeah, they specifically said this movie is not in the Venom universe.
Yeah, they saw how bad it was and they're like, this is definitely its own thing.
Yeah.
Over its entire theatrical run, Madam Web grossed slightly over 100 million with a production budget of around 80. Opening week saw Madam Web earn a bit over 15 million, which made up 35% of its gross. But why did not? We know why it flopped because it was a bad movie. But you need to explain. Madam Web's story seemed to have gotten lost in the conversation surrounding its other bad missteps, but the movie's actual plot is fundamentally flawed. The movie shows how Casey, you know what else was stupid? Was they had Maddie Franklin, Julia Carpenter, and
Corzine,
the Mexican chick.
What's her name? Ariane or something?
Anya?
Anya,
Yeah.
yeah. Or was her last name Corzon or something?
Something like that. Yeah.
But they didn't have the main Spider Woman.
You said Julia Carpenter, but they said her last name differently in the movie.
Yeah, because Julia Carpenter would be her married name, Aaron.
Oh, okay.
Women, when they get married, they usually change their last name.
Well, they don't have to do that in the live action. They can still keep.
Yeah, they do, because in the comics, her last name is Carpenter because she married a guy, and that's why her last name's Carpenter.
But her last name was very similar to Carpenter, though.
It was like Cornwall or something.
Yeah, yeah.
It says the movie shows how Casey became blind and paraplegic. It includes the birth of Peter Parker. It shows audiences a young Uncle Ben. It was weird because they show Ben Parker and they showed Mary Parker, right? So they showed Peter's uncle and they showed Peter's mom, but they didn't show Richard, the dad, and
He's a bad dad too.
No, he's not.
He wasn't there when she was pregnant.
He was away on business. She wasn't supposed to give birth. If you watch the movie, Aaron, she literally says, "I'm not supposed to be giving birth yet."
Yeah,
like he came early. But they didn't show Richard Parker and they didn't show Aunt May.
He was dating Aunt May. I believe he used to start seeing her, but you've never seen her. Yeah,
they mentioned it. He's like, "Oh, I'm seeing this chick, blah blah," but you don't actually see her, which is weird.
What if they did that story with the young Aunt May and the young, like, Peter's parents were, then it's like they turn out that Aunt May is actually like Peter's mom or something, like that story that they did.
The Julia Carpenter divorce arc is one of the lame subplots in Avengers West Coast. Yeah. His dad's a spy. He was busy. Yeah. Well, it depends on which version you go with.
Well, it doesn't matter for this movie.
Maybe they're spies. Maybe they're agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Maybe they're just normal people.
That's one narrative they went with. They were in S.H.I.E.L.D.
It says, is Casey trying to save the three girls whom Ezekiel Sims believes will one day kill him, or learn about her powers? Who are those girls? Why them specifically? Things like this make the plot seem random, and as many have said, incoherent. Also, the dude was like, those three girls are going to kill me one day, right?
Yeah.
And when he figures out who they are, right? I'm like, well, that one chick could just deport her, right? Like, just call the cops on her. You know who they are now, and all of them are like skipping school and stuff. Like, you could stop chasing them. Yeah, like you could stop chasing. He wants to kill them. Like, I'm like, you could stop chasing them, right? Have the police pick her up, and then like she's stuck, like there, like there's no getting away, right?
Yeah.
I'll kill people, but I draw the line at calling immigration.
Yeah. Whoa.
Wait, no.
And you know what else was dumb? So there's a lady in the movie. There's a lady helping the bad guy, right?
Yeah, the hacker, the computer, or the beginning, or which one? The one she killed?
Yes, the computer. There's only one lady that's helping him, Aaron. The lady, the bad lady with the fucking red hair. But she's helping Ezekiel Sims. He dies. Spoiler alert: he dies. But the heroes don't know about
her.
She stole NSA technology. She was using NSA technology to track the women across New York. She still exists. She's like still there. Like, this lady has stolen NSA technology and presumably a bunch of illegal funds that Ezekiel Sims had gotten over the years, right? Yeah. Like, she has access to all this. Like, so she just makes out like some evil lady just makes out like a bandit by the end of this movie. Like, you killed my boss. I get to keep all this illegal technology and probably his money because I could just wire transfer it. Hey?
Well, well, that's how bad this movie is. It doesn't make sense.
What's up, Jimmy? She gets shot in the face with the firework and didn't quip. I didn't see that coming.
That's gonna hurt in the morning.
But if he kills them, how will the annoyingly shot diner scene ever happen? Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, if
she's an employee, actually, he threatens her. Well, I mean, yeah, he hired her to be the hacker lady, but she's still helping him, is what I'm saying. Like, at some point, like, you're still working with the evil guy, right? Whether you're there because he's threatening you or you're legitimately want to help him. I mean, it wasn't like they ever hinted that like she was lying to him and like was helping the girl secretly.
No, she was helping him.
She was like Willie. She's like, hell yeah, they're right there. Go kill them. Yeah. She was like, oh, like fucking down.
She was cheering him on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Says when a movie announces that its writers are the same team who created a film based on the same intellectual property that was so bad it literally flopped twice, it's hard to blame people for being skeptical. Madam Web proved those skeptics right. Whatever live action Sony Spider-Man universe movie was to follow the absolute disaster that was Morbius needed to be airtight. At the very least, it needed to beat the low bar Morbius set. A recipe for success in that regard does not include rehiring those same writers.
It was the same writers. I forgot for a second. What?
Oh,
Don't know.
Plus, it did not help that the internet immediately started giving the infamous Madam Web trailer the Morbius treatment, even before the former was released, let alone after critics tore it apart. If a movie's actors are not passionate about what they're doing, said movie will suffer for it. Passion is vital to a movie. It brings heart, stakes, and believability to the project. You know what else was weird? I don't know if this was intentional or because the guy playing Ezekiel Sims, it seemed like his audio was different. Like his audio was.
It was.
Why?
What did they say? What did they use? They said I forget what they used, but it was. You're right.
Yeah, like his audio was like, and it was like off-putting. It was like, why is this guy like? You could just hear the audio quality was different. Like,
yeah,
like, does he not speak English? Like they had to like dub like a guy speaking English in it. Like it's really weird.
Like almost in like the way they did Bane for Dark Knight Rises, how they dubbed back over, like pitched it up higher.
Unfortunately, it seems that at least some of Madam Web's main stars did not have any passion for the project. With Madam Web's theatrical run so close to that of Sydney Sweeney's passion project, Immaculate, many wondered why Sweeney even chose to be in Madam Web. She told the Hollywood Reporter, I hate when they do this, like they do a half quote and then they give you the whole quote. Just give me the whole fucking quote. Just put, boom. All right. To me, that film was a building block. It's what allowed me to build a relationship with Sony. Without doing Madam Web, I wouldn't have a relationship with the decision makers over there. Everything in my career, I do not just for that story, but strategic business decisions. Because I did that. I was able to sell Anyone But You. I was able to get Barbarella. Ooh, she's going to be in Barbarella?
Yeah.
Nice. I'm looking forward to that.
At least one thing good came out.
What? This movie doesn't hurt. Obviously, this movie is not hurting her career, so she's fine.
Whose career?
Sydney Sweeney.
Who said that was hurting her career?
No, she's fine. It's not hurting.
Oh, the way you were arguing, I was like, you're like, this movie's not hurting her career. Like when you yelling at someone in the chat here, what's going on?
No, it was more like I heard it as just more of like a
she's good that she's the only one. She's the only one. She's the only one that hasn't really bashed Madam Web, like Dakota Johnson has.
And even like the higher ups will be like, well, we hired some bad writers. Like they're not gonna be like everyone attached to that movie is dead to wherever, you know. They're just gonna be like, well, that sucked. But the actor, I like the look of that girl's boobs.
Although back in the day, they were more merciless, right? Like
you mean back in the Gap?
Back in the Gap, yeah. Halle Berry, remember after Catwoman and she got her Razzie Award? She never recovered after that.
Yeah, she's kind of making a little bit of a comeback like the past few years. But
she's also
her career.
Nobody in that movie though was really any. I mean, look who's in the movie. We had Dakota Johnson. What's she famous for?
50 Shades of Grey.
50 Shades of Grey. That's it. Like she's not an award-winning actress. We're like, oh my god, she was like fucking like nothing was expected. Sydney Sweeney, she's famous for having titties. Isabella Merced, I've never heard of her. Same thing with Celeste O'Connor, the one who played Maddie Franklin. Never heard of them. The dude playing Ezekiel Sims is like a nobody. Mike Epps, I was like, oh my god, Mike Epps is like in this like little minor role, like Emma Roberts and Adam Scott probably suffered the most from this movie because they're like halfway decent actors, right? Though I think isn't Emma Roberts like almost pretty much out of acting after she like had that baby?
Is she? Was that her last film?
No, I didn't say she was. I said practically. Like she's been slowing down.
Yeah, take less work.
So it's like she's not someone who's like trying to like make a bunch of movies. She's got like a family and stuff now.
Yeah, and you know that's the thing. Is even with Halle Berry, it's like you were already like you made a bunch of money and stuff, and so it's like you don't have to be in everything anymore.
Yeah. I mean, everyone else is like a nobody, so it's not like it didn't hurt any of their careers.
Yeah, it's not like they're completely blacklisted from the industry. You know, it's like can't hire them. They're in Madam Web. It's like the casting people aren't going to care.
Sydney Sweeney's being hired almost in everything now.
She got big old titties. She's gonna be
Yeah.
hiring everything.
Yeah.
Madam Web was her Hollywood humiliation ritual. They're like, look, you want to be a star, you got to be in Madam Web. So we
Like the
can-
John Cena
You're-
Oscars thing.
You're the MCU, City Sweet. We can start with what? Just find a wait. This is not the
They
MCU.
sandbagged her.
You're gonna be a
You're going to
director
be in an MCU movie.
Well, maybe to give them the benefit of the doubt, maybe the agents didn't understand themselves, like, right?
Yeah, that's
Possibly. Like,
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
Sony could have lied, or they just because they don't know. Like, it's a superhero thing, kid.
maybe they thought it could
No.
be. Maybe they thought Tom Holland Spider-Man was going to be in it or something. I don't know.
It's kid stuff.
Yeah, I would not be surprised. Actually, Wizard, they're that cynical, these guys.
Yeah.
Remember,
People
people want
superhero thing. Yeah.
people want City Sweeney to be like a Black Cat.
Adam Scott's owed a huge favor.
Oh yeah, Adam Scott. Yeah,
But I mean, if Emma Roberts and Adam Scott, they might actually benefit from the movie because, again, they're not nobodies, right? And we've seen, like, as bad as Inhumans was, the guy got to come over into the MCU, right?
Yeah.
Like,
If he
fucking, you're the
was-
guy.
SML
So,
for a
Like,
couple.
you're Black Bolt. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. So who knows? You know, maybe there'll be a flashback in the next Spider-Man movie, and there'll be fucking Adam Scott.
And look who Emma
Roberts.
Roberts. Look who their aunt is, Julia Roberts. Like that helps too. So yeah,
Why would you say that, Aaron?
you don't think that doesn't help?
No, but why would you just instead of saying like, "Look who we're at," is like Eric Roberts, like, dude, I'm her dad. Like,
Yeah,
I'm somebody. I'm a somebody. And you're like, no. Her aunt is Julia Roberts.
no,
Like, fuck
out
Eric.
of the way, you.
That,
the
he
way
does
you-
help too, but like Julia Roberts obviously has more stroke because Julia Roberts is more popular.
I don't know, Aaron. I don't know. Best of the Best is a great fucking film. All right,
He
so
was-
Dakota
he was
Johnson
good.
says,
He was good in Dark Knight as was it Maroney?
yeah, Maroney.
Yeah, Moroni.
Yeah,
Not Maroney. Maroney is what you're being. You're being a Maroney.
Salvatore Moroni.
it's a Maroney.
All
All
right.
right.
And Dakota Johnson says, sometimes in this industry, you sign on to something and it's one thing, and then you're making it becomes a completely different thing. And you're like, wait, what?
There's Sebastian right there.
Not only not comics accurate, but spat in the face of the comics. Madam Web seems to have attempted fan service, but instead may have just disappointed comics.
This was not fan service.
Now that
Yeah,
should have
because-
been like. That was written weird. It should have been like not comic accurate, like not only comic inaccurate, like not like the not and not is weird.
Well, like they should have focused on if they were going to make a Madam Web movie, which was stupid to begin with, right? Like,
Yeah.
My girl.
not a Spider Woman movie, a Madam Web movie. Okay, it's
The
dumb,
whole premise
but okay.
in and of itself is a problem.
Yes.
but like you should have just focused on her and not had all those extra characters, right? We had no characterization for any of the characters because there's way too many in the movie for you to give them all screen time. And then, like they said, like no one gets their powers, and you're like, oh fuck, what the fuck's this? It says advertising ahead of the movie indicated that characters Julia Cornwall, Anya Corazon, and Maddie Franklin would spend time as their superhero counterparts. Well, they did for that like one scene.
They spend a time.
But it was
Yeah.
it was a vision scene. They weren't in the costume at all. Like there was just a scene when
They were in the costume, Aaron.
Yeah,
we weren't literally seeing his thoughts. They actually had to put costumes
Yeah.
on and film that, Aaron.
They
So
were.
in that scene that it exists on film,
That's my
they were in
point.
their costumes.
But they were never in the costumes at the end, which they should have been.
You don't have to be in the costume at the end.
Or when you tease it in the
The
vision.
problem was that the characters weren't fleshed out. Okay, if those characters were familiar to you, if this was like a third or fourth movie in a Spider-Woman franchise, right, where we got to meet Julia Cornwall and say Madam Web 1, and then we met Maddie Franklin and Madam Web 2, and we met the other chick, right? And we've spent time with these characters. Then seeing them in the costumes would have been like, oh, that's fan service because we know them, we like them now, and we want to see them in the costumes, right? This was just like we threw them in there, and it was a throwaway scene that didn't matter. And then at the end, they also show up in their costumes again, Aaron, if you remember. They give you a
Yeah.
little vision at the end. It says there was footage of them in their superhero suits, which raised expectations. That footage was in the movie, technically, but only via visions of the future. It dangled the representation of these relatively more underground female characters in front of fans' noses, only to give just a taste. This is on top of jokes that may have been intended to be darkly ironic, but did not land with comic fans. For instance, there's a moment where a young Ben Parker asks, "You've never been shot at in Queens?" This is, of course, a reference to when he will be shot in Queens in the future. But many just found it sad.
Did he change the "with great power comes great responsibility" line too?
Well, he doesn't say it. Someone else says it to her.
Somebody else says it, yeah, to him. But it's worded differently, isn't it?
Yes.
Like
because
Uncle Ben hasn't said that line since the Sam Raimi movie. Like,
yeah.
Despite not even being in the MCU, Madam Web certainly suffered from the effects of MCU fatigue. I don't think so.
No, it was bad Sony movie fatigue, is what that was. It was Morbius and Venom fatigue.
Literally, if a very good MCU movie came out, the excitement would be back.
Like Deadpool has excitement, and there's a little bit of hype. We'll see what the numbers shake out.
Yeah.
But will Craven continue this pattern? Craven actually looked pretty decent, but
I don't trust
I don't
him.
know. I don't trust him either.
Venom 3 is the next.
After seeing Morbius,
Venom 3 is the next movie.
El Muerte will save.
What are you talking about?
Will save
Craven is the next movie. They
no. Venom is the next movie because Craven's been moved to December and Venom's in October.
I thought Craven was already filmed.
Craven is filmed.
Yeah, didn't the trailer come out already?
Yeah, it was
filmed.
But Venom 3 isn't filmed. Venom 3 is not filmed.
Venom 3 is filmed. Yeah, it's being filmed right now.
There's no trailer out yet.
Aaron, you can't say it's filmed and then it's being filmed right now. Either it's filmed or it's not filmed. Is it filmed, Aaron?
I think they said they finished it maybe a week ago,
they're rushing it out basically.
But what happened was, remember, Craven was supposed to come out last year, and then they moved to a year later to August, and then a couple weeks ago, Sony announced that they're moving Craven to December for Christmas season, but Venom is still coming out in October.
October 25th is when it's scheduled.
Yes, October 25th. Craven is December 12th, 13th? I don't know, somewhere around there.
But no, El Muerte.
El Muerte is not going to happen.
El Muerte will save.
Yeah,
it's still happening. Last I read, it's like we don't know.
It's not that movie. If it's still in development, I think it's going to get canceled. They're going to be like, nah, we're not going to do this.
We'll save them.
But the only reason that they were thinking that movie is because probably Bad Bunny came up to them and said, "You know what?
He's in like one Spider-Man book, right? Or he's in like a Spider-Man book for like 2 panels or something.
No, who, El Muerte?
Yeah.
He's in 2 issues of Spider-Man.
Yeah, let's give a
I had those issues.
Let's give a movie.
He will save the Sony verse.
Let's give a movie to a character's only been in 2 issues. Who realized that stuff?
But see, here's what you're missing, Aaron. Here's what a lot of people are missing. If you have a character that is pretty obscure, you can't really fuck it up.
That's true. Right?
Do whatever you
want. As long as it's a good movie, you guys wouldn't like if they made a El Muerte movie and it was legitimately good, and you weren't like, it doesn't follow the lore. Well, there's no lore, right? There's nothing for them to fuck up. It just has to be a good movie.
Say the same thing about almost every MCU character that happened. Right? They were all obscure back in the day.
Some gritty wrestler story about him wanting to be a wrestler. Bad Bunny can wrestle.
Well, the story is that he has this mask and he's not worthy of the mask. So another mythical masked wrestler comes to kill him to get his mask back because you're not worthy of the
how do you know if
the mask gives you?
How do you know if it's fake or not fake? Because it's wrestling related.
No, because in the comic book that was the story, Aaron.
Oh, okay.
You could do it if you treat it seriously and if you really because good wrestling movies like The Wrestler and stuff like wrestling movies that treat it seriously and you can do it pretty good. So they just can't have it in their heads of franchise spin-off movies interconnected any of that stuff. Just
the WWE
use the IP and kind of just
the wrestling cinematic universe wizard.
Well, imagine like him, like remember the Puerto Rico entrance, him coming out for the match with
Yes.
Damian Priest, like that hype and that energy, but like the whole movie is that, it's just like, yeah, El Muerte, and then don't even connect it to superheroes or Marvel or anything, like just trying to show some restraint.
Mhm.
Well, what they could have done, or what they could have done, was showed El Muerte, put him in the role of Crusher Hogan, right? Get rid of Crusher Hogan, put El Muerte in the role. He loses to Spider-Man, right? But we don't see that. We just see the aftermath of him losing. And now this guy is chasing him to get the mask back because you lost and you no longer worthy of the mask. And so now he has to go underground and like try to wrestle underground to bring back honor or whatever to his mask.
Get Bonesaw.
I mean, they made 3 fucking what was it, like Cage way back in the 80s with fucking Lou Ferrigno. It was like underground wrestling. I mean, best of the best. Part 2 is they go to like an underground Vegas karate tournament. It's not that hard to do a movie with like an underground tournament. And then, surprise, surprise, the guy he's running from turns out to be like the champion of the fucking thing. He has to beat him. No holds barred is peak wrestling. Yeah.
What's that smell? Where's that from? What Hogan movie is that? What's that smell? Was that Suburban?
Hulk Hogan movie.
Are you sure? Hulk Hogan was
I know what you're talking about.
Isn't that Hogan?
It's Hogan. Yeah, I just don't know what movie it is.
Yeah.
You know what?
The space
you
movie?
know what? You know what famous wrestler was in Suburban Commando?
Ooh.
Undertaker.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
What you thought I wasn't gonna know that?
Well, I was mainly asking Aaron, but yeah.
I forgot which movie. Which I think was it the What's That Smell? Is that from the? No, that might have been No Holds Barred.
It's probably No Holds Barred, I think, because he's like, I haven't seen No Holds Barred in so long.
That's the one where he fights Zeus, right?
Yeah, Zeus.
And then he bought the actual wrestling, the actual arm wrestling.
I don't know. Anyway, there's a ton of actual Hispanic characters that are more important than El Muerte that they could have brought out.
For sure.
So,
I still don't know like what the reason was for El Muerte, like
Bad Bunny.
But like he could have been other people, as Tony said. Like
is El Muerte perceived as Bad Bunny's Puerto Rican, right?
To be fair,
Is that
undead luchador sounds.
Is like that Is El Muerte perceived as Puerto Rican in the comics?
No, he's Mexican. He's a luchador.
Okay. I guess he just wants to play as fantasy also as a wrestler in a movie. Also,
well, I think that is like if they would have. I think they cast him for like it's not like Bad Bunny went to them and he showed through the comics down, he's like El Muerte.
Bad Bunny went to them. Bad Bunny went to him.
No. Sony decided they were going to do the movie, and then they cast Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
Bad Bunny did not come with a comic book and go, "I want to be that guy." And Sony was like, "Oh yeah, yes, Mr. Bad Bunny."
Bunny was in the Bullet Train movie.
Yes, he was.
Which was another Sony movie.
I want to be El Muerte.
This is the character they need to bring out. Fucking Toltec. He's basically Mexico's version of the Punisher.
Ooh.
He just beats people with this like fucking like.
But he's a predator.
Big knife thing.
Is he like he's dressed like a Mayan or like an Aztec or?
He's dressed like an Aztec warrior. He's got one of those big like stone sword things.
Yeah.
Oh, the Mahuitl, whatever that thing is, the one with the yeah.
He's like
it's badass.
He's like
should be shilling this character, damn it.
Quetzalcoatl from Freedom Force 2.
Yeah. All right. That's enough of that.